Okay, everyone's got their sheet up, the chromatography sheet. I'll do it. The materials that we're going to need. We're going to need 100ml beaker. We're going to need water, cement sheet. We're going to need icy pole sticks, okay, paper clips, which I've got, and some chromatography paper. Chromatography paper is, some of them have got a dot, a green and a brown dot, and some of them are plain, which I'm going to put a dot on. Now, I've already loaded some of these here. This refers to page 160 in your textbook. Now, we did go over this the other day, page 160. And what we're trying to do here is related to 4.3, we're going to separate soluble substances. Soluble. Soluble means, of course, that it's dissolved. The solute is dissolved into the solvent, and that means dissolved means that it just breaks down into particles, at which point you can't see them anymore, but it doesn't mean they're not there. We're going to use colours. We're going to do what's called chromatography. We're going to use textures, and we're going to separate out the soluble substances. We know that there are three primary colours. There's red, yellow, blue. Now, when you combine those colours, they're colours that don't need to be made. They occur naturally. Black and white are a shade. They're not a colour. So from those three, you get the secondary colours. And when you mix secondary colours, you get the tertiary colours. So you have three layers: primary, secondary, and the tertiary colours. What we want to do is we want to use water as a solvent, and we want to separate out the colours that make up these dots. What we should see is the three primary colours come through. We should see those come through. What we do is take some water in the beakers, make sure that I'm looking all right, water in the beakers, and we've got our green dot. You'll notice that it's a fair way off the bottom because I'm going to put it into the water. And we're going to watch it. What I've seen here, we know that green's made up of blue and yellow. Able to separate that out. And we've got brown, which has got some blue, some red, and some yellow in it. I've got an orange one here, and that has got some red and some yellow. And I've got a purple one that I did before here, and you can see that's got some blue, a bit of red, lighter red, and a bit of yellow in there. So we separate them out to see what is actually in there. So I'll take the green dot, and I'm placing it in the water. Now, I don't want the water to touch the dot, only the paper. As the water rises up, it'll carry the colours with it. Those that are strongly attached to the paper will stay down the bottom. Those that are not will move towards the top. We've got our brown dot here. We'll place that one in there. Then the orange one that I did before, we'll put it here. Now we can watch it as it goes up. And then my purple dot here. I'll put them in there. Now, while we're doing that, see if you can see that one. It's coming up. That's the green dot. You can see as the water is rising, up, that it's starting to separate out the colours. You can see a little bit of blue coming there. On our brown dot, you can see that it's starting to travel as the water's travelling up. I can see a little bit of yellow, a little bit of red in there. Here's our pink or orange dot, and you can see some red in that one there. And at the top there is some yellow. So we'll just have a look at those. Let the water rise. Now here you can see this one. This was our purple dot, and you can see how there's a bit of red. At the top there you can see the blue as the water's going up. Just got the bottom of the filter paper in there. Now if there's any white in there, of course you won't see the white because it's on white paper. Here's our blue dot, our green dot. Sorry, get my colours mixed up. You can see there how I'm getting some blue coming up. Blue is coming up, and that green is starting to go to a lightish yellow type. And it will end up looking like this one here. This one here, that is the green dot. You can see the blue and the yellow. Now here's our brown dot. And you can see some of the yellow there. You can see some blue. And you can see some red as it's rising up. You can see that. And like a good show is, of course, one I did before. And you can see there it's blue, some red, blue, red, and the yellow. This orange one, you can see here, you can see that it's red, and you can see the yellow at the top, the yellow there. This is the purple dot. See, with the purple dot you can see the blue, you can see the blue, you can see the red, and there's a bit of yellow just in the middle there. You can see some yellow coming through. This is the one that I've done before, one that I did before. You can see that it's got blue, red, and there's just a hint of yellow around here, just a hint of yellow around there. So we just give those a little more time. Once we get to the primary colours, then they're not going to separate out anymore. See, this one here is that the blue's going up. The green looks like it's going down, but it's actually the yellow. The green leaving the yellow, and it will eventually, given it another 5 or 10 minutes, it'll turn out like this one that I did before. So you'll notice that there's blue and yellow. It's making up this. Here's the brown dot. Brown dot. You can see there's blue there. See red, and down the bottom you can see the yellow there. So we've got blue, red, and yellow. They'd be in varying amounts, but they are what is occurring there. This one's becoming pretty clear that it's got a red, maybe with a shade of white in there as well, but red and yellow. You can see how that is coming up. That red and the yellow is coming up. And our purple dot, you can see the blue and the red. See how the water's travelled up. You can see where the water's travelled up, because where the top of the blue is, there, that's where the water has reached. Now probably won't separate that, leave that much longer. And the ones that like I said I did before, that's the green dot. You can see which two colours are in the green dot. And most people know what green is made up of. And here's the brown dot. And you can see that in this one here, you've got blue, red, and you can see some yellow down there. And this one here is our orange dot. And you can see there's yellow there at the top, and some red there, maybe with a little bit of white that was in there. It's red and the yellow. Red and yellow. And this is the purple dot. This is the purple dot. You'll notice that there's blue and there's red, and there may be a hint of yellow in there. blue, red, and yellow. So what the solvent has done, the solvent is the water, the solvent has come up, the water's travelled up the paper. As it's done it, it's collected the colours and separated them out into their primary colours. If you leave it for long enough, they'll separate until it can't separate any further. Now this is used a lot. It's used a lot. CSI type shows use it to see what is in samples of blood, samples of things. Just because you can't see something with the eye doesn't mean it's not there. You cannot see oxygen in the air, but we know it's there because we're all alive, so we know it's there. So you can't see what's in that dot, but when you use chromatography, then you can separate it out to see what's in it. So it's used fairly widely in medicine to separate out to see what's in products, pharmaceutical companies, drugs, and so on, to see what is in there. So you can see that we're able to break that down. We're able to separate that out into its original components. In this unit, we've said that a mixture is a mix of two or more substances that are mixed together, stirred, shaken, or mixed together, and can be separated out into their original components. And the original components of this, blue and yellow, that is a green dot. Original components of this, you can see the blue, you can see the red, you can see the yellow. The original components of this orange dot, which is this one here. Orange dot, you can see the yellow and you can see the red. And the original components of this purple dot, you can see the blue, see the red, and just a hint of yellow around there. So there must be a tiny little bit of yellow in there. So that is what we're looking at. If we look at our paper, what I went through our sheet, what I went through here is what I did. There's a setup there. Obviously, you're not going to be able to do that. But what you can do on the sheet, your sheet has got a provision for you to answer it on the sheet and then to do a conclusion. So you're going to answer these questions, and the questions are, what colours made up the green dot? What colours made up the brown dot? What colours made up this one? This one is an orange dot. This one is a purple dot, and the colours that made it up. Okay, what was the solute in this Prac? In 99.9% of substances or mixtures, 99.99% water is going to be the solvent. If it's an industrial one, there may be another solvent in there, but you'll always smell it, but it's generally water, so we know what it is. Then for the solute has to be the colours. How did the texture colour travel up the paper? Well, you can see how it's done that. You put your answers in sentences. Remember, the job of science is to explain, so you put your answers in sentences that explain. Why do some colours travel further than others? If you look on page 160 and have a reread of that, it tells you about ones that are weakly attracted to the paper and others that are more strong or stronger attraction. And how does chromatography show that colours are made up of more than one colour? We are separating them out to show that there is more than one colour in these simple, what appears to be what look like one colour. In fact, their original components are many colours. And then, as per usual, there are 3 parts to a conclusion. What was done, a statement about what was done, statement about what was found out, the findings, and then a further discussion of the results or the findings. Okay, so that's going to be due for you. It's there for you. So I want you to be going over that and answering that. Thank you.